appreciate your patience. I have to ask you those 3 questions. Were you all able to follow my instructions and refrain from discussing this case with anyone since we left yesterday?
Yes.
Everyone said yes or nodded affirmatively. Were you also able to follow my instructions and refrain from doing any independent research or investigation into this case?
Yes.
Everyone said yes or nodded affirmatively. Did anyone happen to see, hear, or read anything about this case since we left yesterday? I have one other important instruction for you folks, and it's so important that each and every juror can hear the evidence or the testimony that's presented, can follow the testimony, and can understand and evaluate the testimony of each witness and the exhibits. In order to do that, I just want to be very clear that it's important that people do not comment on the evidence or make any comments. Once you enter the room, it's probably a good idea to just listen. Don't talk, don't make any facial expressions, no muttering under your breath, no audible noises, because people need to hear what's going on and to understand everything. So out of respect for your fellow jurors, I would ask that you be very careful to make sure you don't do that, and out of respect to the lawyers who worked so hard to get this case before. Okay? Thank you very much. With that, Mr. Brennan, your first witness, please.
Or if I could begin by offering a stipulation that's agreed to between the parties.
Okay, can we turn the AC down, please? Thank you. Yes.
Your Honor, if I may, I'd like to read a stipulation agreement between the Commonwealth and the defense.
Okay.
And the stipulation between the parties is as follows. Now comes the Commonwealth and Karen Reed, the defendant, in the above captioned matter. Both parties respectfully stipulate to the following. The 2 Massachusetts State Police troopers present at the autopsy conducted by the medical examiner, Dr. Scortibello, on January 31st, 2022, were Trooper Keefe and Trooper Watson. Former Trooper Michael Proctor was not present.
Thank you.
And
We so stipulate, Your Honor.
Yes, thank you.
with that, Your Honor, I'd like to introduce and play clip number 21.
Okay, Paul, turn the AC off. Hold on 1 second, please, I just want that. Can the jurors hear better with that on?
So John's laying there, his left and his right, and I approached John from the left. That's where the street is. And he had a piece of glass, like perched on his nose, like just wedged like a splinter would be. And I just pulled it, and as soon as I pulled it, it just gushed blood down his face.
So we need this marked.
Yes. We have the item.
Exhibit 169.
Mr. Lally, your next witness.
Your Honor, the Commonwealth calls Andre Porto to the stand.
Do you solemnly swear the evidence given to the court and jury in the case now in hearing to be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? So help you God? I do.
Morning. Hey, Mr. Lally, whenever you're ready.
Thank you, Your Honor. Good morning, sir.
Morning.
Could you please introduce yourself to the jury, spelling your last name for the court?
Yeah, my name is Andre Porto, last name spelled Porto.
And what do you do for work, sir?
I'm a forensic scientist too in the DNA unit at the Massachusetts State Police Crime Lab.
And where did you go to school?
I received my undergraduate Bachelor of Science in Microbiology from the University of Massachusetts in Amherst. And then I received a Master of Science in Biomedical Forensic Sciences at the Boston University School of Medicine.
Now, following your education, where did you go to work?
I started at the Massachusetts State Police Crime Lab in the DNA unit.
And how long have you worked at the state lab?
Slow down.
Oh, yeah, sorry.
How long have you worked at the state lab, sir?
Since September 2019.
Now, when you joined the lab, what was your position and title that you were initially hired for?
I was hired as a Forensic Scientist 1.
Now, can you please explain to the jury your duties and responsibilities as a Forensic Scientist 1?
Sure. So a Forensic Scientist 1 is a trainee position where we're hired and we undergo an extensive training program where we do undergo the analysis process in training casework samples, where we learn how to do the lab work and analyze profiles. And at the end of this training, I took a competency test to make sure that I was able to accurately conduct the DNA analysis process. And once I passed that, I was then put on to do casework. And a year after completing both my competency tests and a year after my hire date, I was then promoted to a Forensic Scientist 2.
And so you're currently a Forensic Scientist 2, is that correct?
Correct.
And what is the difference between a Forensic Scientist 1 and a Forensic Scientist 2?
So a Forensic Scientist 2 is just the automatic promotion that you get after a year of hire and passing the initial competency test. And we're able to do the DNA process in casework samples.
Now, sir, what type of analysis do you currently do at the Massachusetts State Police Crime Laboratory?
I can do the DNA analysis process in casework and known samples. That includes the lab work as well as analyzing the DNA profiles that are generated from the work.
Now, first, just in general terms, but specifically with reference to DNA analysis, can you explain to the jury how is that analysis performed?
Sure. So there's 4 steps in the analysis process. The first step is extraction, where we apply heat and chemicals to the samples to break open the cells and release that DNA to be available for use. Step 2 is called quantitation, where we take a small sample of that extracted DNA to estimate, and we use chemicals and run it through an instrument to estimate how much DNA we extracted.